this is Yesterday's News, and I've got the awesome Erika Ohlsson from Metalite with me today, and we are going to talk about the new album, A Virtual World. How are you today, Erika?
I'm very fine, thank you.
So you guys released your album last month, and you put out a single or two before. Fans were kind of, talking between themselves about what was coming and what was to be expected. And I think it's really cool because you guys, one of the first singles you put out was Peacekeepers, and it was
Yeah.
this really repetitive, great, like catchy tune. And I heard a lot of people going, Peacekeepers, keepers of peace. And they were like,
Yeah.
kind of repetitive, but it sticks with you. How did you feel about the beginning releases of the singles that came out, and then once the album came out, how do you feel everything has kind of gone for you with the album?
Very good, actually, and that what was what we hoped for, of course. Um, and when we recorded the album, the feeling was that this is gonna be good. It was kind of a difference between the last album, the Biomechanicals, and this one, and yeah, the feelings were really good about this one, and still are.
Absolutely. And I have to say, because I think I got into Metalite really early on with the very first album that came out. And there was a change in vocalist. And I'm a really big vocalist person. So I love vocals. And so I'm extra hard when I'm critiquing an album. And when the second album, Phoenix, came out, or I mean, Biomechanicals, Phoenix was my favorite song off the album. So I'm kind of going into that. So
Ah,
I felt like there was kind of a disconnect in the album, and I wasn't really sure if it was with your coming into the band, if you felt like you had found your space with them yet. And I know I gave a really critical review, but with the new
did
album,
you?
I did, and I felt so bad because even with Rocknet, I had put in, it was one of the albums that I was really expecting to be like a really great, and it kind of for me fell a little flat, and so I kind of said, oh, it was one of my disappointment albums. But on the spin of that, with A Virtual World, I feel like everything that I had addressed in that, like, I just felt like the vocals didn't. I felt like you were playing it safe for on the
Ah,
album, and I think with A Virtual World, your vocals just really have a chance to come out. And I love what you guys did, and I was like, wow, I feel so bad that I did that review. But
you
that's how I felt.
should.
But I know,
No, I'm
but
kidding.
I think that you really found your space with the band at this point. Have you heard other fans that maybe came onto Metalite early with the first album that maybe they just haven't adjusted to you, or what they think of the new vocals?
Yes, of course, because the first album was with another singer, of
Yeah.
course, and that was the first album, and of course there will be some criticism because of me coming into the group, and the fans that uh, yeah, the fan base that Metalite has had from the beginning, of course, loved what Metalite were before me. So of course I was prepared for that. But actually, during the process and when I got into the band, I was very, very like committed and wanted to do my thing, and I love the sound in Biomechanicals. I can agree with you with the playing safe card. But it takes a while also to like me and Edwin doing our recording process and getting to know each other and everything like that. But I think Biomechanicals was a great album, and I love that album and many of the songs as well, because it is my first album with Metalite, of course.
Yeah, and that's what my whole thing was when I reviewed it. I said, there were a few songs that really stood out in your vocals. You just had
Mm.
this, I'm here, and that just you rose above, and it sounded fantastic. And then I felt some of the other songs were just a little smaller and safer. And I was like, oh, if she would have just done what she did with Phoenix with this song, I mean, it
Mm.
would totally connect for me. So
Mm.
I do feel bad for my review, but
No,
I
don't do that.
but I'm, with A Virtual World, I was just singing the praises that I'm like, I think I gave it Rocknet a 4.5 out of 5. And I think it was just
Thank
because
you.
if you guys would have just hit a couple things a little bit different, it would have just been the perfect album. But 4.5 is like, I love this album. And
That's good. Thank you
for,
so much.
for you with the new album, what is your favorite song out there? Do you have a favorite? Did you get involved in the writing for the lyrics, and where are you with that? With if
with the lyrics, Edwin is the one who's doing all the
Okay.
songwriting and also the music. So when Edwin has done like the melody and everything, he sends me like a demo of the songs, and we find out the right key for me, so it fit my voice and how I wanted to do the song. So the writing I'm not involved in yet. I wish I could do that sometime, but not yet. And yeah, so the music and writing is like almost done when I get into the process. And my favorite song on this album actually is Running.
Nice. So, and
Right
that
now.
actually was one of my, because I'm actually looking right now, because my top songs and my very first top was Alone. I love the vulnerability in the song. It was something a little bit different. And but then,
Yeah.
Beyond the Horizon and Running and Peacekeepers for me were like the tops. It just, whether it was, they had just the hook that you just kind of got pulled in immediately, or if there's just something a little more vulnerable in your voice. And I think they were all exceptional songs for your voice as well. So it's just kind of.
Thank you so much.
So let me ask you this: as you came in as a new vocalist and you're into your second album, but you're also a female, do you read the comments that are being made on the Metalite page for any of the posts? Do you see the things that some of the fans say, or do you just avoid it?
Sometimes I read it because I'm curious about what what everyone's writing, of course, and it's both the good ones and the bad ones. But I really don't care. I mean, everyone has their opinion, and some people like us, some people don't. That's the reality. So I don't care. I get happy about the good comments, of course.
So let me ask you on some of these comments, because I read through the comments myself because I'm chatting with fans and we're screaming about this song or that song and,
Yeah.
bantering back and forth. I see some of these comments that I always call them cringy comments that come from men that are like, oh, what a hot babe, and not a single
Mm.
word about how phenomenal your vocals are. How does that make you feel as an artist when it kind of, to me, I look at it as being a female, that it kind of just diminishes you as a professional vocalist? Does it kind of rub you wrong, or would you like to see maybe they appreciate your vocals more? Or does it bother you at all?
I mean, if you write that kind of comments on a song or a video that are posted on YouTube or on our fan page or everywhere, like I don't care. I don't care actually, because it says more about that person than anything else.
I mean, it's nobody has to state it. I mean, it's obvious you're a very beautiful woman and you've got a phenomenal voice. That I just think it's weird sometimes when you see that. And I know a lot of
Yes,
female
of
artists
course.
out there have kind of. I've been watching Floor's her YouTube channel where she has the other females and they just talk about female to female, and they're very careful talking about what it's like to be in the industry. And they've hit on some of those. It would be nice if you don't have to leave those comments. We're okay if you don't.
No. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
So, how much creativity space did Edmund give you with recording your vocals? Did you get to put your own stamp in the sound as you recorded, or was there a little more control over the overall sound?
No, we have actually find out a really nice and good and professional way to work together now. This is our second album together, and he invites me a lot when it comes to like color the music and the vocals and harmonies and fills and everything. So we come up with that together, and what feels like comfortable for me to do. And yeah, so I'm very involved in that type of the process.
And so, when Edwin is writing, does he take into account your vocals as he writes to kind of master that into the sound? Do you know if that's anything that he does while he writes that to kind of forethink what the sound will be like with the band?
um we haven't talked about that actually, but I think he does. I mean, he come up with the idea and the lyrics, and of course he has in mind that how would this work, and but that also has to do with our coming up with in what key the song is going to be in the range and everything. So yes, of course he has that in mind. I think. I hope.
So now that you're 2 albums into the band and you've had time to really kind of immerse yourself in with the rest of the gang, what's it like for you working with Metalite? Who's the funniest person in the group, and what's the dynamic with you guys?
Our dynamic is really good. We known each other, and I known them now for, yeah, this is the third year. I got into the band 2018, I think. So the dynamic is really nice, and we're having fun. We are like playing in the rehearsal studio, and when we are out on our shows and on tour, we laugh a lot, and we are a little family together. Who's the funniest? I don't know. I think they're pretty funny.
Yeah,
All
well,
of
you
them.
have a really big dynamic because I know Robert and Lee, and so it's that kind of there's this really great dynamic. And I don't know if for anybody watching this, if you don't follow Leah on Instagram, you should, because of the videos from driving the truck are
Yeah,
hilarious.
I
I
know.
crack up, and it gives me a chance to practice my Swedish, and I just laugh because it's just not afraid to just have fun. Do you
No,
guys do you guys prank each other at all when you're out on tour?
not that much, actually. Maybe we should start with that. I have to think about that.
Make people scared to come out on stage. No.
Yeah.
So with the album out and with it being COVID times, what does it look like you guys what does it look like for you guys for touring and to support the album? Are you guys looking at anything for next year? How does the dynamic work for you right now?
Right now, we had the Sweden Rock here in Sweden this summer canceled.
I can't believe we're missing
For the,
Sweden Rock 2 years in a
I
row.
know. Yeah, I know.
That
My heart
hurts.
hurts.
I was so excited. I'm like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Have you
Me
heard if you're going
too.
to be on next year? Because I know they're trying to keep a lot of the same bands.
Yeah, we hope so, but we haven't heard anything about that yet. But let's hope for that, because that would be awesome to be on Sweden Rock.
Absolutely.
Uh, and we also have Sabaton Open Air here in Sweden, but we don't know. That's in August. And then we have a small tour in Spain planned in September. So that's what we have right now in the nearest future, but we don't know. We just have to keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best. So
Absolutely.
for next year, I don't know what. I think everyone is a little bit scared and are waiting for everything to be normal.
I don't think we'll
So
see normal for any time in the
no,
near future or next year. It's going to still be some strange modified as they roll out the
yeah,
rest of the vaccines worldwide, and everybody's doing something a little bit different. And
yeah.
yeah. So, aside from touring that you guys are kind of planning, where do you guys want to go? I mean, where's your like in your heart the places that you really want to get to?
Oh, we want to go everywhere. like like we want to go everywhere in Europe, like to the big places and meet our fans all around the world, because we haven't got the chance to do that yet. I mean, we had some shows with the first album, me coming into the band. We went to Moscow and on a festival there, and then we had our release show for the biomechanicals, and then the pandemic hit us. So we haven't got the chance to like really go out and meet our fans and yeah, party with them. So
That's got to
we
be really
really,
tough. I mean,
yeah,
it's
I
not. It's
know.
I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's one album, it's affected," but you guys kind of got hit. Like you said, with
We
both of
have
them, and
two.
so you're kind of on the backside. And then it's that everybody wants to tour, and I think people are like, "Well, next year, we should have a lot of shows." But then I think a lot of people, the average listeners, forget that there's going to be a fight for those shows, because on a
Yeah.
normal, it's the recycle, you can't play the same festival the next year unless,
Yeah.
unless you're like the metal god or something and they want you back year after year. So it's going to be kind of a strange one, because I'm seeing the festivals that are rebooking are trying to keep somewhat similar, but then some bands are falling off next year's that I've seen already, because tours were already being planned for next year.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
The landscape right now is, we've lost a ton of venues. Everyone's in a hurry to book, and now it's kind of, where can we book and who's going to get out there first? So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's
that
gonna be hard.
it's tough for artists that are stuck in between albums. And I mean, everyone's like, we're releasing albums, and I've seen a few people that are like, we're not going to release anything until the pandemic's over. It's just going to be the way it is. And
Yeah.
so when you're not making music, what do you do outside of music?
I go to the gym. I hang out with my friends and family. Um, take walks. Now everything like is dead, the restriction and everything. So right now it's a very calm and yeah, kind of nice life. Like,
Have you found over the last year, since we've had a kind of a lot of time to reflect, that you've changed anything major in your life, or you've really reevaluated things in life and you've decided to kind of cull things in your life or add things to your life that you wouldn't have done before because you had time to think about it?
yeah, the gym thing. That's new for me because I'm getting older. No, but yeah, but this year maybe I started to reflect, like taking care of myself and the ones that you got nearest to you, of course. Keeping the health and everything like that. Sounds boring, I know, but you gotta do it.
I think a lot of us in 2020 did that, and I laugh because I had a back and hip injury after a fall last year, so I laugh because it added to all of the misery of COVID, and I've got the COVID 30 gain, and I'm finally back at the gym, and I'm like, I've got to be at the gym because I've got to get that off. I don't want to
Yeah,
feel like this. And I've seen a lot of people are saying the same, that it just really reflected on their health and mental health and
yeah,
well-being. And I
yeah.
think
Now you got the time, so it's
you never have
perfect.
more time than right now.
Yeah.
That's great. So one last question for you, and this is going to be towards the fans. Those who that followed from the beginning of Metalite, and those who've come in along the way, or maybe with just this album, what do you want them to know about you, about the band, and you know what you think of the fans and their responses to what they've been saying about the album?
Oh, I mean, the response and the comments and everything. We got so much like positive comments and very much love, and we love that. We really appreciate our fans and the nice things that they write to us. So thank you for that. Um, and we really longing to come out to you and meet you out there and get up on stage and give you a hell out of a show because we have so much energy. We just want to come out and play for you.
Awesome. So guys, if you're watching this and you've had some fun with this, and maybe you know Metalite, or maybe you don't know Metalite, which if you don't, you really need to change that. You guys go find them. They're AFM artists. They've got a new album out. A Virtual World came out last month. It's a really great power metal album. You've got to check it out. Erika's vocals just absolutely shine. Erika, thank you so much for taking the time out. And I really hope that Sweden Rock rebooks you, because that's my home of rock. And we would love to
Oh,
see you guys up on a huge stage, because, at Sweden Rock, there's no small stage anywhere. And,
I know.
I'm hoping you guys stay safe over there, and that you guys get back out on touring and things kind of level out where we can see bands and live again, because for artists like you
Yeah.
guys, live is live, and that is your lifeline. So
Yeah.
it's really important. Guys, go check them out. Metalite. You can find them on Facebook. They've got a website. You go connect with them. They're on Instagram. Get the album, buy some merch. Definitely buy some merch, and support live music and artists that are doing what they're doing. Erika, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was so fun to talk to you.